live. There it is.
There it is. All right, ladies and gents, we got some good stuff for you today. You ever have that project you want to get done and you just don't know who to call? Well, stay tuned. We're going to find out today.
Woo woo.
Shut up and sit down.
Business Bros is your show, where small business professionals just like you come to tell their stories. This podcast is for those who understand the number one rule in business, which is to be of service to others. Learn how today's professionals generate leads, what's working on social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of those who are out there doing the real work. And now let's welcome your hosts, Hernan Cias, the real estate bro with eXp Realty, the cloud-based brokerage where top producers reign, and James Cias, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, making sure you are covered because there's a lot riding out there. And now here are the Business Bros.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? Let's get this thing off and rolling. Brian Thomas from easybids.com. Guys, welcome to the program.
Great. Thanks for having us.
So tell me a little bit, how'd you guys get into this whole gig? What's your background? A little bit of that. I'll let you guys flip.
Hang on. Really?
Oh, sorry.
Like, we do that.
The intro. It must be COVID thing.
It's a COVID thing, or that's
what I got you for.
It's the new like video intro that we got. Sure. Like, I didn't even get to introduce these guys right.
That's right. My bad.
Gosh.
All right, go for it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning into the Business Bros Pod today. Check this out. When you have a project that you're working on, but you don't know who to hire, we have a solution for you. Today's awesome guests are bringing you an easy, intelligent, and handy app on your device that connects homeowners with service professionals to get their home projects done. This nifty little app can help homeowners manage each home project from start to finish. When a homeowner submits a project, the entire experience from pricing the job, receiving bids, and hiring the right professional is all handled within the app. After submitting your project, the details are shared with professionals who provide the service you requested. Pros will begin asking questions and bidding on your job. Once you determine who meets your expectations, you hire them. It's that simple. So listen in today and learn more about this incredible new app that's going to make your life and home improvement projects that much easier. From Easy Bids, please welcome to the pod, Thomas Gonzales and Brian Lebeck.
See, that's how it's supposed to go. I ruined it.
That's how it's supposed to go. Come on, man. Welcome to the show, guys.
You are hired, my friend.
You can save that. You can repurpose it. It's all yours.
All right, gentlemen. Now I get to ask my questions. I was just so excited to jump into this thing. So, all right, tell me a little bit about yourselves. How'd you guys get into this whole thing?
So, we weren't in, the technology space prior to this. I'm the president of a pretty large national insurance agency, and Tommy does commercial real estate. And but years ago, about 10 or 12 years ago, I had done quite a bit of underwriting and sales in the insurance industry for the commercial division and dealing with contractors. And I also, back in college, did a stint working for Home Depot doing some of their high-end retail sales when people come in and want a full remodel. And during those times, after spending a lot of time with contractors and consumers, I began to understand that there's a large need in this industry for people to have access to, contractors on demand. And when you look around you, just about everything over the last, 5 to 7 years has changed drastically. When you think of the way you hire an Uber driver, or you order food, or you purchase things, everything has changed. But when you think about hiring a contractor or a service professional, it's really the same old gig, right? You go on Facebook, you ask your friends and family, hey, who knows a painter? Or you go on Craigslist, or you try and, go on one of these lead provider companies that are out there, and it doesn't solve a problem. You still deal with the same headache, the same problem of having 5 or 7 different contractors show up to your house, get on your roof, walk them through the estimate, waste your time, waste their time because you only hire one of them. And so the same pain point was out there for the consumer and the contractor. And so about 2 years ago, Tommy and I were playing around at golf, and we were, trying to understand what the markets needed that were out there, some of the things that haven't been, touched. And this was one of the ideas that I had from back, 10 or 12 years ago. So the next day we decided to meet. We put the pen to paper and we began to think about, how do we tackle the needs of both the consumer and the contractor? In today's environment, we looked around us to find out who was out there. You have your Angie's List, your Home Advisors, you have these other platforms, and they really only solve a need for one person. They solve a need for the consumer to find a contractor in one way, but they still have to deal with all those other pain points. They have to have multiple people come to their house, as I mentioned, and the contractors flat out hate them because they pay these outrageous amounts for these leads, and then 9 out of 10 jobs, they never get a call back from the consumer, and it's a waste of their time and the customer's time. So again, we decided to sit down and formulate a plan on how we can tackle those things on both sides of the coin. And when we began doing this, we created Easy Bids, and we were able to really tackle both solutions within our platform. As you mentioned just a few minutes ago, James, within our platform, we use technology to measure interior and exterior. So I'll give you a roofing example. Let's say you as a consumer want to have your roof replaced. You're not going to want to get on top of your roof, nor do you want to have 7 or 8 contractors get on top of your roof, nor do we as a consumer even know how to measure our own roof, right? So we wouldn't know where to begin. Within our platform, you as the consumer would go on there, you'd snap a couple pictures of the front of your house. You could take any video. We'd ask you a series of questions related to, maybe what type of product do you have on your roof, if you know that. But literally within 3 or 4 questions, you put your address in, you hit submit. Our partners will then begin measuring out your roof, and within roughly 30 to 45 minutes, they can spit out a full 3D rendering down to the inch of measurements of your property that goes out to all of the contractors that do roofing jobs within your market, based on the radius that is around your zip code. And within an hour or so or less, you could have 10, 15, 20, 50 bids from contractors that do roofing. Now, here's the great part. It's not just based off of price. We've integrated Yelp, Google, multiple platforms to integrate reviews, credentials. We even offer background check services. We verify insurance coverage. We have how long they've been in business and any other credential information, along with pictures of past jobs and current jobs that they're doing today, so that you as the consumer can pick off of price, credentials, reviews, whatever meets your needs. Then from there, you're able to hire the contractor, and the person that you hire, that you select, is the one and only person that goes out to your house, that spends time doing a site walk, does a final measurement, gives you the bid, tells you the payment options, and negotiates any other needs that you have. And the job begins. It's really, really that simple. And so again, we've set aside kind of really both the consumer demand and needs or problems, as well as the contractor.
Dude, that really simplifies the process. And then Tommy, you're in the real estate space, right? Commercial real estate. You've worked with contractors before. A lot of them are really old school when it comes down to doing business. The fact that you've simplified this process, how has it affected you in the commercial space as far as making a recommendation? It's pretty easy now then, I'd imagine.
It's pretty easy because it, like Brian was mentioning, it satisfies a lot of needs that these contractors are having. A lot of contractors, they gripe and moan about paying for these leads, and 9 times out of 10, they're not great leads. So, you're basically giving these guys a free marketing platform. The only way that they would pay, which is the price of a lead, is if they're awarded the job. So, it's kind of a no-brainer for contractors. From the young guy who's starting out, first is like his contracting business, to the guy that's been around for a long time, there's always going to be a need for more business. You can bid in 1,000 jobs or 1 job. You don't pay a single thing. It's a free process to sign up, free platform to use. You only pay unless you're awarded. You don't pay unless you're awarded the job. So, it satisfies a lot of needs for both consumer and contractor, like Brian was mentioning.
So how did you guys get together to come up with this? That's a great concept. How does the insurance guy and the real estate guy, because that's kind of where we're at, how do they get together and come up with this concept?
So I've been in San Diego for about 13 years, and I've known Brian for that entire time. He was the first person I met in San Diego. We lived in the same building downtown, young guys back then, not so much now. But we just kind of hit it off. We became good friends. And Brian was always a type that was very successful, always has his hands in a lot of ideas and a lot of different things. So, I'm the go-getter kind of guy. He's the big thinker. So it just kind of made sense for us to collaborate on this.
Man, 13 years ago, how long did this idea kind of brew before you guys took action to do it?
Well, it's been brewing for me since then. Back in those days, it's funny. I started a company similar back then called Happy Builders, but at the time the technology wasn't available. There was no apps. It was only an online platform, and I probably would have had a product similar to an Angie's List or one of these lead providers that's out there. However, I realized it really wasn't solving the entire need back then. And back then, I was also early on in my career, still had a lot of learning to do. And so I decided to put it to the wayside. And then, as I was mentioning, him and I were playing around a golf, and, he started asking ideas and I started spitting things out. And this was one of them. So we met the next day and had lunch and started charting out a strategy and a plan. And we hired on a CTO to help us build out the app and the platform. And then we hired on a CFO to help us, make sure finances were together and that we had P&Ls built out and budgets. And then we set out to find a chief marketing officer. And so we brought her on. And so she started to help us, steer the way against, what is our strategy? How do we go to market? How do we target consumers and contractors? And from there, we had our team complete.
Dude, that's a great story, because it wasn't like, and kind of knocking the contractor side, a lot of them start to build their company and never develop a team. Like your story here is literally, we had an idea and we built a team around this idea. It wasn't, we had an idea and I started to learn programming and I started to, develop my own marketing. Like you guys built a business the right way. How's it worked out so far?
It's been great. We've obviously, we have challenges just like any other business. When you start any new company, even in the insurance industry today, I've got over 1,000 employees, and we make mistakes here and there. It's going to happen, but we've been fortunate to have a really good team that has been in this space, not the technology space, but in their particular space for quite some time. And so we've been able to overcome those challenges quickly. If we've made a mistake, we learned from them and figured out how to move forward. And here we are. We've got a finished product that's going live in the App Store, and we're excited about it. So.
Yeah, and to add on that, to build a team, it's really important to the entrepreneurs that are listening to this podcast that you build a successful team around you that has a different skill set than you do. I can't begin to understand what Whitney does in her capacity as a chief marketing officer, nor what I can begin to understand what Braden does as a CFO. And it's an important piece of the puzzle to make sure that there's one chief, which is the CFO, which is Brian, but then you have, all the Indians around you that do an equal part, an equal share of the job to accomplish the mission.
Oftentimes when it comes to software type companies, they have this stigma of being huge money pits because something's always changing, something's always modifying. How did you guys kind of manage that aspect of, you could have gone in many directions when it comes to the development of this app? How did you fine tune and decide, like, this is where we're going to focus on this niche? This is how we're going to, there's a lot of things, even from something as simple as the pictures you take and how you get the bids out and which clients come in. I mean, you can go in a million different directions. How do you guys focus in on just the ones that you want and are utilizing?
I guess, how we, came up with the strategy with the whole process in the app was we set out to understand what our customer needs were. as we began building out the platform. So we had the idea, right? But we wanted to make sure that we tailored it to exactly what the consumer and the contractor wanted. So the first step was we partnered with some large general contractors in the area that were friends of ours. We sat down with them and asked them, what are the problems that you face day to day? What are solutions to those things? If we were to bring you this app, what would it look like? What would it feel like? What were the questions that we would ask? What are the things that we need to think about? And while we were probably 70% right on most of it, there was about 30% of the direction came from these folks who have been, pretty much strategic partners for us. As far as the consumer side of things, we sent out a survey to roughly 1,000 people. Some of this friends, some friends of friends. And within this, we asked them a series of, I would say it was about 10 questions on, what are the challenges? Have you used these other providers before? What things do you hate about hiring a contractor? What's your worst experience? We also asked them, because we wanted to know if doing background checks was important. Some companies do, some companies don't. So we asked them, we gave them a series of 5 different contractors, and we gave them price, reviews, credentials, a series of different things to pick from. And we said, which contractor would you pick? And we found that 27% of those consumers chose the 3rd or 4th one down that was more expensive because he or she had background check. So we said, hey, we need to tackle this, because if we're excluding 1/4 of the population, then it makes it challenging for us. We're creating a bottleneck at the top of the filter. So we went back and we redesigned things again. And so that's kind of been our fundamental is we want to stay close to both of our consumer and our contractor to make sure we're understanding their needs, and we're designing it and building it to tailor that.
That sounds very much like your typical sales cycle. You actually went out and looked for the pain points, right? And then built a sales a strategy around the pain points that you were looking. Because when you sent out the 10 questions, it didn't really sound like, what do you love about contract? It was all like, what was the worst part? What was the most difficult part? What do you hate about it? And then found solutions for those things. How much of that do you guys do normally in your other businesses as a real estate or in the insurance side? Don't you guys do that on a regular basis?
Yeah, understanding what the client's needs are is always important, right? And listening is a big piece of that. As a young real estate broker, you're always waiting to respond, to say something of value, right? But and then understanding the underlying motivation for someone to either move off the fence or not. It's really important. So you got to listen to what these people are saying, and whether it's the real estate industry or the industry that we're in, you have to really listen to what the consumer and the contractor are trying to tell you. Because that's the real value that you can provide, is what the initial needs are, what the pain points are, and then solve those problems.
So I'm gonna ask you, Tommy, first, and then I'm gonna come back to Brian. You've built a company to help people on the contracting side. How has that helped your original traditional business where you came from originally? Has it been like something that takes over and this is your number one focus now, or is it a supplement now to your existing business?
Well, it's helped me learn a lot about myself and being patient. Has it helped me with the real estate side? Yes, it has. It's helped me, like I said earlier, uncover what the actual need is. Sitting down with a lot of different people, they have a lot of different problems. So understanding that is important. The shift, right now with what's going on in the real estate market, I'm able, fortunately, to stay at home and do some of that, but focus a lot of my time on getting this thing off the ground. And Brian and I, we believe it or not, we actually live right across the street from each other. So we're like, buddies and business partners. And so we're like together quite a bit. So he's always working within his industry. I am in mine, but we're so close that we can collaborate on a lot of different ideas and whatnot.
So there's no quarantine for you guys, huh?
That's convenient.
We're right now.
Yeah.
Brian, how about you? We're in the insurance industry too. We have concerns of clients not being able to pay their insurance premiums for whatever reason. We're constantly reaching out right now and talking to any business that's in the workers' comp space and kind of reevaluating the situation. To letting drivers know that insurance companies are are reducing some of the rates or, giving refunds back for in certain cases, doing what we can to stay on top of it. How has Easy Bids helped you with your business, and what effects are you seeing or what things can you see down the road because of what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're impacted substantially for all those things that you just mentioned, and we're trying to, guide through them. It's a fluid situation dealing with COVID, and we're doing the best to be there to support our customers as much as possible. What I'm most excited about is the way we're going to be able to help contractors in this time of need. When you think of the situation for the next 3 to 6 months, we don't know how it's going to play out. The way we do business and transact business and go to stores, I think is going to change for some time until there's a vaccine for this thing. I think you're going to see that, consumers are apprehensive about having multiple contractors come to their house. And there's going to be a lot of contractors that are going to be faced with, less jobs and less opportunities, as we progress in the future. What I'm excited about with Easy Bids is as we launch, they can still get those jobs without being at risk, without going to the customer's house. And you're going to see that customers who were afraid to have 3 or 4 or 5 people show up to the house to get a quote can now get that done safely. Contractors can bid. The only person that has to show up to your house with a mask on is the person who you hired to actually do the work. And so we're going to be here to help facilitate that for contractors. And I think it's going to allow them to get more work, sustain their income, and be able to support their families, even, in uncertain times through COVID.
This is definitely feeling like a new normal. And I'll be honest, I am not a huge believer in this whole COVID thing. I think it's more of a fear thing. And we're kind of all worried about our own little safety, but I just feel like, I don't know, I'm a numbers guy, I'm a statistics guy. It just doesn't pan out, based on what I see. So, but by the same token, I was having a conversation with somebody today, and it kind of reminds me that, the masks we wear are almost symbols now of, I am either a supporter of this. I want everybody to stay home. Like they've become almost like scarlet letters in a sense, you know what I mean? Like I live in National City. It's become an ordinance. I can't walk into Walmart without wearing a mask. You know what I mean? So the fear of what you're talking about, people fear of others, other solicitors, other businesses to come to their homes. That is a legitimate fear. People have that innate in them. I'm more scared of the guy that's wearing the mask because I don't know if that guy's sick or not. You know what I mean? than me wearing the mask. Yet we're all forced to do that. You know what I mean? And you guys have made this process much easier so that we can skirt those types of things. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Tommy, I want to ask you about what you think is going to be going on in the real estate market, because one of those things that tends to dry up is the construction industry. Once if lending, the criteria for lending gets tight, people aren't able to get those cash refis. They're not able to do some of this work that goes in. It gets tough. And you guys, on the one hand, are providing a great service for people to be able to get jobs. On the other hand, are we a little worried that the work might not be there?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. And on the real estate side, it's the same thing I hear day in and day out. For sellers, it's we want to wait. We want to see how this is going to react. What it's going to do for the value, which I have a hard time with, because if you have in this market where the rates were extremely low and you were a seller, it would be in your best interest to get that thing across the finish line. With the buyers, I can understand that. I had like 4 or 5 deals under contract this past month, and they all are not anymore because of the same fear. The buyers are saying, I'm buying this at a premium, though I'm getting a good rate on the loan. I feel in 6 to 8 months that this is going to do something drastic. The market's going to turn drastically, and my value is going to go down. So we're going to hold off 6 to 8 months and see what the economy looks like, what the real estate market's going to look like, what the values are going to look like down the line. So, lending, it's tough, man. It's a huge question mark, because as an economist, you're not able to really forecast the future with something like this. It's never happened before. You can't just, predict how long it will last. So that's kind of the scary part. And as this thing evolves and people are starting to, let their guard down a little bit with the social distancing, when the president says, hey, we're going to open up certain places, I mean, then you'll see maybe a little bounce back in the economy. But until there's like Brian said, a vaccine and people are actually safe, whether it's, a real thing or not, it's still a reality that we've got to live in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what, regardless, whether it slows up, whether it bounces back, the deterioration on homes and the fact that we're not building as much as we used to, we have to do these add-ons. We have to add on these ADUs. There's a lot of things that have to happen, and the construction industry will still be there. There's still, we may not be doing, a remodel inside, but we'll be adding additional square footage because guess what? We have an aging population that needs to go somewhere. And we, oftentimes it's way too expensive to put them in, some sort of home. So guess what? They come home with you, and we need to find them a space. So, and
well, again, as well, it's like, the person that was going to maybe sell their home or buy a home, they might be looking to, hey, the market's going to turn. Maybe we should just stay in our current place and maybe do some remodeling. I think that's where we might come in as values right there. And like you said, people are going to need a place to stay, the baby boomers, additional add-ons. And that's, again, where we could add value.
And you guys made it that much easier. Plus, on the insurance side, things still happen. Houses burn down. We still have, cars that go into homes. There's still things that happen on that side that need some sort of construction, some sort of fix, some sort of patch up that we need to do. And you guys have made it super easy. So, it's been scrolling down here on the bottom, ladies and gentlemen. The app is available in the App Store. You can also go to the website, www.easybids.com. Check it out. Have it. If you're a real estate agent, you need to have this app available. You need to be able to just share it with people because you get asked the question. Anybody who has a real estate license get asked the question all the time. Do you know someone who, and then complete the sentence, right? Works on framing, is a plumber, is an electrician. Like, you have that resource available. You have your network of people, but you also want to be able to give people the opportunity to have more than one bid, more than one referral. Like I'm one of those where, which restaurant should I go to? Well, if you just give me one, that's not a very good choice. Give me a couple. Let me choose. Let me do my research. So, congratulations on you guys launching that. Any last minute stuff you guys want to share with the audience before we head out?
Yeah, I did want to let the audience know that we do offer financing on our site as well. So if you're looking to, replace that roof, or you have a need that you want to, get resolved before the summer and you don't quite have the funds, we offer financing up to $100,000 with terms as long as 15 years and rates as low as 4.99%. So check us out on the app and on the website. You can click there, and within a few questions, you can actually get pre-approved on there as well. So we'd love to have you. And hey, thank you for the opportunity to come on here. You guys do a lot of great things, and we're honored to be a part of the show. So thank you. And you guys can check us out. Go to the website. You can contact both Tommy and I if you have questions, concerns, anything you want to bring up. Hit us up on there. We'll be happy to answer those. It'll go directly to our email. There's also an 800 number that you can contact us on there as well. We'd love to hear from you.
Hey, I didn't even ask you guys. Do you guys do the contractors on there? Are they for exterior landscaping, pools, that sort of stuff on there too?
Everything. Yeah,
Nice.
It's not even just construction. We're offering moving services, housekeeping. I mean, you name it. Even if you just want your playground put up, or something from Home Depot assembled, we have pretty much everything in the service industry.
So, ladies and gents, easybids.com. It's really that easy. I had to go there. All right, fellas. Again, thank you guys for being on the show. Ladies and gents, that's all we got for you guys today. Peace.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye, guys. Appreciate it.
And we're out.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you interested in being on the show? Are you looking to sell your home or have a business that needs insurance? Reach out to the Business Bros via email, businessbros@seeusfirst.com right now, or click on the link in the show notes. Thank you for listening. And remember to subscribe and share the podcast with the business professionals who you think would benefit from the show.